You don't believe in evolution?
No, I do. I believe in evolution.
If you believe in evolution, then what's wrong with hurting humanity if we're just matter and motion? We're just a combination of molecules. What's wrong with killing molecules? You kill them all the time when you walk down the street.
You kill them all the time when
You know what I mean?
arms.
You know what I mean? On a subatomic level, I mean, you're just moving matter motion around.
Sometimes I play games.
So if that's all we are, like one of the supposedly brilliant minds of our time, right? Like all the philosophers, all the scientists today, Bill Nye, the science guy, telling us, we're all just stardust. We don't really have any meaning. And in fact, they would say something like, "Isn't it beautiful to be stardust?" I just walk around and sip on my latte and think about how beautiful it is to be stardust. Really? I don't think so. I think that atheist, evolutionist, anti-supernatural person lives like a Christian every single day. Even at Starbucks. You want exact change. When you pay at the register, you follow what the Bible says. Thou shalt not steal. And if you steal from me, you will demand to speak to a manager. Why? Not because of Bill Nye's worldview, but because of Christian worldview. You see? And the Bible says that's because the law of God is written on our hearts. The work of His law is in our hearts. We know it's wrong.
If someone steals from me, I'm going to have an issue because that means you don't respect me.
But in your worldview, Allison, in your worldview, what's wrong with disrespecting people? If there's no ultimate right and wrong, no ultimate truth that we can know of.
I there was no ultimate right or wrong.
Okay, what is ultimately right and wrong then? How do you know? Hold on. Unless Allison is done, she's very intelligent. She's having a great conversation.
Right and wrong, it depends on how you're going to influence people. Because what we are, in the eyes of God, we are all His children.
How do you know that if you don't believe in the Bible?
I'm having a discussion with you about the Bible.
So are you just being hypothetical? You're just adopting a Christian worldview for a second? Or do you actually believe this?
No, I believe that whatever we came from, I don't know what it is.
So your belief is called fideism. You ever studied any philosophy? You take any philosophy courses?
Yes.
Okay, do you know what fideism is?
No.
Right, fideism is the idea that you believe everything a priori before any factual information. You believe it outright. In other words, it's blind faith. It's the opposite of what the Bible tells us to do.
See, more of it's the reason
In other words, Allison, it's wishful thinking.
It's wishful thinking, but there's also evolution, that we all came from a common
How do you know?
ancestor.
You weren't there.
Oh, okay, fine. I wasn't there when the Bible was written either.
That's right. So you'd either have to have revelation from the God who was there, or you would have to have been an eyewitness yourself. I don't claim to have been, people come up to the microphone and they'll ask me, when was the world created? Do you believe the world was created 6,000 years ago? And what I say is, I wasn't there. I don't know. All I know is what the Bible says. And the last time I checked, I've read the Bible dozens of times, and nothing in the Bible tells me the earth was created in October 17th, 6000 BC. It doesn't say that. I mean, if we look at the genealogies, I believe in a young earth. But there is no specific date. There wasn't a stamp on the cosmos when God created them. But we know that God created everything.
Okay.
Only because we have revelation from God. If we don't have revelation from God, then Allison, you are in fact hopeless. Because you will never be able to establish your worldview, and you will not know for certain anything.
My worldview is justice for all people.
How do you know what justice is?
Being treated equally.
Hitler thought he was bringing justice. You know why? Because he had read what the evolutionists were saying, and he believed that he was at the pinnacle of the evolutionary process and that he was preserving the Aryan race. He believed that Jewish people and black people were subhuman. And so what he thought he was doing is he was preparing the human race for greater evolutionary purity by eliminating lower races. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's well documented that Hitler did not think that black people were human. Or Jews.
I mean, for a long time in American history, black people weren't seen as people.
And we're not moral judges either, standing on our high horse. After all, there are abortion mills all around our country, even right now in our city, that are destroying babies in the womb because we deem them non-human. I mean, there's a Holocaust going on every day in our society.
Okay, Allison, how old are you?
Thank you, Allison.
And how old are you?
I'm 41.
So you're 41, talking to people who are exploring themselves through a method that is neither debate nor discipleship. So it's not fair for you to come
You go to school here?
Yeah, I do.
How old are your professors?
Much older than you.
So then what do you have a problem with me talking to people?
When they talk to us, it's a discussion.
Oh, it's a discussion. I think
it's
it's a systematic training of a postmodern worldview.
This is not debate.
Ma'am, listen.
This is not discipleship.
I'm sorry.
This is not God's intention.
No, it's called evolution. It's called evangelism. Okay? I would like to know how you know what God's intention is without His Word. See, a lot of people come up here and they have a problem with Christians having an open dialogue with people because it's controversial and you might have a debate on your hands. Ay, ay, ay. Last time I checked, the microphone is there. Well, Robert is there holding the microphone. Thank you, Robert. We forgot our normal microphone, but this one works okay as long as Robert doesn't faint.
Just for you.
Anyway, you got something to say?
In life.
Do you understand what I was telling Allison? That without God, you don't have meaning, morals, and beauty. You don't have purpose in life.
The issue is kind of just,
Yeah.
with how I see it, it's more along the lines of a psychological point of view. Morals are decided particularly by the culture that you're around and the culture that you believe in.
So there's no actual morality.
Or there is morality. If I stole your coffee,
Not if you define it the way that you defined it. The way that you defined it, sir, is called humanism. We are the measure of all things. That's that's your definition of morality. It's humanism. Just read the Humanisto Manifesto. It's online. Just Google it. What it says there is that man needs nothing outside of himself. Man is self-sufficient, autonomous. He has no needs for spirits or gods or genies or anything or things that go bump in the night. In other words, what humanism teaches is that we are the measure of all things. That is not what the Bible teaches. God is the measure of all things. His law is the transcendent law of the universe. Our laws are deductive of God's law.
the Old Testament laws or the New Testament laws? Which one's
Both.
specific? So, if I had a daughter, she
But I'm talking about moral law. I'm not talking about civil and ceremonial law. Like a lot of people come to the microphone and say, well, do you eat shrimp? Because in the Bible it says you can't eat shrimp. Do you mix your fabrics? Then they don't understand. Then obviously they've not read the Bible. Because in the Bible we have an Old Testament and a New Testament. We have an Old Covenant and a New Covenant. And under the New Covenant we are explicitly told that we are no longer under the civil or the ceremonial laws. Now Robert, if you can step back a second, we always want to obey every ordinance of man and let people walk on the sidewalks. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why under the New Covenant we are not concerned about shrimp or bacon, two things that I absolutely love and I'm not worried about, because under a New Covenant, you know why God told the people of Israel, don't eat shrimp, don't eat bacon, don't eat pigs, don't eat sausage? Why he told them to do that? It was to distinguish them as a theocracy, to separate them from the rest of the cultures in the world. But we are not in a theocracy anymore. That time came to an end. It served its purpose. And its purpose was to point to Jesus. Yep.
We are not in a theocracy anymore. We're in a democracy.
Well, we are not here, but you go to certain countries and you'll be right back in a pretended theocracy. I mean, just go to any Muslim country where they have Sharia law, you'll find out.
I am referring to the United States.
Yeah.
We're in a democracy.
That's right.
Where the values of people, like, if I were to open a business and say, I will serve anyone here except gays,
Okay.
it's not, that's discriminatory. That wouldn't be right. And through laws and obviously other things, if this was defined by the Bible's laws,
Right.
people would go, oh, they're gays, they're abominations. You cannot serve them. doesn't matter. But since we live in a democracy,
The Bible doesn't teach that, just for the record. I don't know what you're talking about, but just because the Bible says that a sin is an abomination, which it does say that homosexuality, among other sins, are an abomination in God's eyes. Absolutely. But it does not say if you're a business owner that you should deny service to a homosexual person. That's just not in the Bible. Sorry. You know what else is an abomination to God? Lying. Have you ever told a lie? How many lies do you think you've told in your life?
how many loaves of bread have you eaten in your life?
Too many to count.
There you go.
Exactly. And so that's what the law of God does for us. It exposes how much we need salvation. Because listen to the words of the psalmist. The psalmist says, if you were to number our transgressions, O God, who can stand? But you see, the Bible says that God has numbered our transgressions. He has everything we've ever done written in a book. In other words, he has a perfect record of every thought, mind, and deed that you've ever done in your life. And every thought you've ever had, every motive that you've ever had, and every deed that you've ever done in darkness, God sees it like it's perfect light.
Hey, that's a long-ass book.
That's right. That's because he's eternal. That's not difficult for him to do that. That's why in the day of judgment, the Bible says the books will be open, and all the deeds that we've ever done will be written in the books. Now, you only have two options there. Either you will be written in the book of life because you have become a Christian during your lifetime, or you will stand in your own deeds before the holy judge and the tribunal of God, and you will be condemned for all eternity. It's called hell. I'm a Christian. I believe in the Bible. There's heaven and there's hell. There's a heaven to gain and there's a hell to shun. And you know what? You can't build a big church by preaching on sin and hell and judgment, but it is the truth. That's what God has revealed. Have you read the Bible?
Yeah, I have.